Hi everyone, Tracy here from MiniScenes again. Sorry if I'm looking a bit worse for wear. I am filming this between Christmas and New Year, and yeah, it's been a good one. I had promised, based on the feedback that I was getting from you guys, to do some videos, one on different resin techniques, which, watch this space, I will be doing some of those for you soon, very soon, and the other on jewellery, or rather how to fix your resin pieces onto jewellery or key rings or whatever, the best way to do it. Some resin pieces are quite chunky and it can be quite difficult to find something big enough to go through the hole and so on. So exhibit A, one of the little key rings that I've just made. So I'll be showing you how to do this with either jump rings or pinch bails or those little screw-in eye pin things, or even make your own wire one, and also an extra bonus idea for turning these into picture clips. Let's get on with it. Okay folks, so today we're going to have a look at what on earth to do with all these random little hearts I keep making. Now if anybody wants to know how to make any of these in particular, just shout up. Some of them are in other videos of mine, others are not. So if there's any of these that make you think, oh, I wonder how she did that, just shout up and give me a rough description. Pop it in the comments and I will do that, because I do know that, judging by the poll that you all filled in for me recently, and thank you for doing so, there were a lot of requests around jewellery techniques, resin techniques, all that sort of thing. So let me know which in particular you would like to see. The purpose of this video, however, is how to make them into something useful, so little key rings and things like that. I have then an assortment of fittings that we're going to use with these. I have jump rings, various sizes. I have these things, which I have no idea what they're called. I shall call them eye screws, because there's like an eye at the top and the bottom's a screw. So I'm going to call them eye screws. Right, got those. I've got a little bag of pinch bails. We'll see if these are big enough to work with any of them. And if all else fails and you can't get a bail or a jump ring to go through because it's just that bit too wide, then you might end up resorting to wire. So I've got some just normal craft wire. And finally, just because I wanted to make one of these for me, I haven't done one for a while, is I want to turn one of these into a picture frame or table place marker, like you might have at weddings, that sort of thing. So I've got one of those. I'm going to have a go at using one of these for that. Right, let's jump right in. So first of all, let's have a look at our jump ring. This one, I've put it through the top. Let's do the next one through there. So first thing I want to show you, and I might have to zoom in a bit, so I'm going to clear a little bit of space in between all these hearts and zoom you in. I want to show you how to open a jump ring properly without wrecking its shape. Now, I think that's as far as I'm going to zoom without scaring you to death. So what you do, the temptation is to pull it open that way with your pliers. This one's quite a thick one, you wouldn't be able to do it with your fingers, you'd have to do it with pliers anyway. But that is not the way to do it. What you want to do is grab a couple of pairs of pliers. These happen to be round nose ones, just because I can't find my flat-headed ones, but they will do the job. And you hold it tightly, like that, probably a bit nearer to the top, and you twist. This is quite a stubborn one because it's quite thick. Don't know if you can see what's going on there. Sorry if it went off camera, that's what happens when I zoom too much. But that has twisted. These ends are still level, so all I'm going to have to do is twist it back once it's through. Right then, let's pick one to drill the little hole in. Let's bring you back out. I've got a new drill, neat little thing. I've lost a lot of the fittings from my old one. This one has 3 speeds and it is cordless, which is really handy, and it's pink. What's not to like? Anyway, this one, then we're going to go through a corner. Let's have this little heart. This kind of looks like almost like flames. You see it's like I got a reasonable Petri effect going on in that one. Can you see it's all sort of 3D and it's dragged? Did get a few spores hit the surface, and the colour contrast is not quite as good as I would have liked, but it's still pretty. So this one I'm going to go through the top. Now this bit's quite thick. You really do need to watch your fingers. You can, of course, put a bit of tape over it to stop your drill sliding off. You could also drill it from the back, but I tend to find that although that is easier, you then can't see where you're going to come out on the front as easily, and also you end up with all the sort of shreddy bits of resin on the outside. So here we go. Now you have to hold it quite firmly and really do watch your fingers. I need to go quite near the top because it's so thick. Oops. Right. There we are. Little drill kit actually comes with a little brush as well. Actually, that didn't make a mess of the back too much. Perhaps I could have done it from the back with this one. Anyway, there we go. Right, we then take our little ring and we push it through. And this might be easier from the back actually. Just push him through, and then all we're going to do is close that back up. And this one, the wire is thick, as I said. It's not going to bend in a hurry without some assistance, thus making it quite sturdy, which is good. But what we're doing is we're just grabbing our little pliers, and can you see we've just twisted it back, and it is still a nice circle shape. We haven't ruined it. Now immediately, of course, you can then put it straight onto whatever item of jewellery you want. Of course, it's the same process if you're doing little tiny ones to go onto earrings or anything. You just use smaller jump rings. So here's that process again. We're just going to twist this open rather than pull it apart. Oop, there we are. And it's going straight onto there. And we have a keyring. Nice and easy. Now the thing I find with these hearts is it's actually easier to go through the corner here, like I did with this one, because it's a little bit thinner there. And you don't have to worry about getting it central. So this is a little bit more fiddly. But there we go. We have one really cute keyring. Okay, then let's bring you back out a little bit more. The next one I said we would do is drilling into the top of it like this. Again, really simple. Which one should we do? Which one should we do? Let's do this one, and I think this wants to be on a gold loop. Yeah, let's go for gold. Now this one you really do have to be careful with your fingers, because we're going to go down into that gap. Now if you slip, you're going to go and drill a hole in your finger. That is clearly not a good thing. Now I know with this that I have made a hole that is too big for the little screw thread. That way I don't need to screw it in. Oh look, you can see the screw inside. Depends on the finish that you've done, you know, the what's inside the resin really, as to whether you'll be able to see it or not. But there we go, just blow it everywhere. This is what we do with these. I've now got two where they're going to need gluing in. Now you can get proper jewellery glues, and you can get extra strong glues. I know there's some people use that E600 or something, but as it's far easier to get hold of, and I've always got some, I tend to use a little dot of UV resin. UV resin is entirely compatible with epoxy. So what we have here is my little UV light. I've got a little one that clips on the edge of my desk now. Dead handy for things like this. I've actually got an assortment of UV lights. I'll do a whole thing on UV at some point, and the different lights that you can use to make life easier. And there we go. I mean, this is stronger than it looks, this little UV light. It's just the stuff that nail art people use. So that's that one. Just bend him out of the way. And straight away, there we go. Now I don't have a gold keyring to put that on, but when I have, I will. This one, I'd put a silver pin in. So again, tiniest little dot of UV. The UV resin I'm using, by the way, is the one I use a lot from Let's Resin. I do find it pretty good and reliable. So there we go, and zap it with the light again. Right, so this is all pretty simple so far. Now I know when I started making jewellery, and I've done a lot of jewellery over the years, I found the findings probably the trickiest bit. That business of twisting eye pins and jump rings and things like that open that way was quite a revelation. Particularly eye pins, because it's quite easy to distort the shape at the top and take it off centre. So there we go. That was easy, wasn't it? That's those done. So you can just then hook them onto whatever you fancy. Your earrings, or gosh, they'd make big earrings, wouldn't they? Oh, right, now next one we have here is some pinch bails. Now these are a really neat way of doing it. The difficulty you'll find is finding big enough pinch bails to go onto things this big without them looking really huge and clumpy and silly, because obviously this has only got a certain amount of width to it, and like with the jump rings, you don't want to end up having to distort it to make it fit. So let's pick one to put on that. Yeah, let's have the purple one. This one not only did a bit of a petri, but I've got a bit of a feather in it, look, as well. Can you see that? Again, colours aren't defined enough for my liking. I think I could have done better, but you know, it's still pretty. Now this one I'm going to go through. Where should I go through? I think the corner again. You need to go quite near to the edge because this will only reach in so far. Keeping my fingers well out of the way. Giving it a little whiz backwards and forwards to get most of the residue out. You can get a little micro brush and push into the hole if you found you've got too much like debris in there. Now these little pinch bails are exactly what they say. They pinch closed. So of course they are designed to be pulled open. These are so easy to use. You put the little spike, one in each side. You see that? One in each side. Oops. And you pinch it closed. Job done. And how cute does that look? Isn't that nice? Of course you can get most of these fittings, not the keyring attachments I wouldn't think, but you can get most of them in sterling silver and things like that as well, which is kind of nice, isn't it? Now this is what I kept finding happening. Sometimes I'd have one that was so thick, this one's pretty thick, so we'll use this. It's so thick that drilling through it you ended up in a right old mess. Not with the drilling, but with the trying to find a pinch bail or a jump ring that will go right through there. So this is a solution I came up with. I tried wire wrapping properly, I was utterly rubbish at it. So I came up with this instead. So let's make us a hole. Oops. There we go. So we've got ended up nice, neat little hole. Now, this is what I did. I cut myself a length of wire. Go a bit longer than you think you're going to need. Like that. That's clearly miles too long. And then you could just loop it through and twist it. That is probably the simplest. However, I had a bright idea about doing this, which I think gave it quite a neat little finish. I bent the wire in two. Not a sharp bend at the bottom, yet. Sharpish, but not completely closed up. I then took both of the wires through that little hole. Now it might be at this point you think, oh, you need a bigger hole. Yeah, fine, get your drill and make a bigger hole, but this one is just about right, and that's why I didn't use the tiniest drill bit that I could find. And you pull it through till you get to about there, and then you bend it up. Might need your pliers, depends how thick the wire is. Then, if we trim the wires down a bit, I only left them that long because it's quite fiddly to do if you cut them too short. And now I'm bending these wires forward at a right angle. I'm going to pull the loop back from them a bit. I'm going to pinch the wires closer together and push them into the loop. There we go, and I can just pinch it with my fingers. Then we have these little ends to get rid of, so I bend them out of the way. As you can see, we're getting a nice little loop going on here. Bend them out of the way, like that, over the back, bend them down, and then we trim off the sharp edges. Now that does of course leave you with a little sharp spot just there, and easy answer to that is put something on it. In my case, a little dot of UV resin, which then also creates like a little glass ball at the top, which is quite sweet. I'm going to just put this under the light again, and then I'll bring you in close to see what we've ended up with. Now I'm sure there are lots of professional wire wrapping type people who would come up with a much neater and posher and fancier way of doing this, but to me this is easy. If I can do it, anyone can, and it works. So I'm just going to put a bit more resin on that end. I just want to make sure that we don't end up with any sharp bits. Of course, the neater you trim that, the better. There we go. You could put a bit of sparkle on that. Yeah, I'm sure there's something ornamental you could put over that. But at the end of the day, you have got a bail. Just took my little UV light away. Right, can you see what's happened there then? We have got a bail, under which you can either put a jump ring or you can just put your chain straight through it, and that will look neat. So there we go. We have an assortment of ways to fit things onto chains. Again, here you just, with these ones, just put yourself another jump ring on it, onto your chain. Now, I was going to make something that I've been meaning to make for myself for a while, and that is a little stand to put my little notes on for when I'm doing my courses and my videos. There you go. Those. Because at the moment they're just chucked against, leaning up against a load of bottles of resin, which is a bit messy. So what I wanted to do was to take one of these, and I think these are rather nice. These ones I did with the metallic alcohol ink. I think it's a slightly weird effect. It isn't what I was actually intending, as usual, but they're rather nice anyway, so I'm going to take that one. And what we do with this is we make a hole slap bang in the middle, or as near to the middle as I can by eye. I'm going to be careful not to go all the way through, because I don't need to, and Well, I could go all the way through, I guess. I'm just making the hole a bit bigger by wiggling it around a bit. I could go all the way through, yeah. I just didn't want to stab a hole in my mat. Again, watching my fingers. Let's see if that's big enough. Because what we're going to do is insert this. And yes, it is. That was a good guess. Seriously, that was a guess. Now, these are bendy, so I'm not worried too much whether I've got it up straight or not. I don't think I have, actually. But I'm going to hold it up straight. I'm going to put my little dot of UV to hold it in place. Let that settle a bit. Put my UV lamp on it. Sorry, my hand's in the way, I know. And there we are. And I can feel that actually I did come out the other side a little bit there. So I'm just going to put a little dot of UV on that too. Could sand it off or clip it off, but this bottom of this one is slightly concave anyway. So I don't think it's going to matter. There we are. We have a little clip for my notes. Now these of course would be great for place markers on wedding tables. There you go. See that? Oh great. Because they're hearts, that would be perfect. Or what I use them a lot for is price labels when I'm doing craft fairs. Stick one of those up in the middle of all the items, and go, make sure it's bent to shape, and put my little price label in the top, or a little sign saying handmade by, or whatever. Let's have a go at this one. This one I think will be another key ring, and I'm going to go through the corner again. There we go. So this one, I'm going to go jump ring route again. Just finding a nice big jump ring. You do need quite big jump rings. I'm just going to see if I have how small I can get away with. I think this might be about it. See, I was actually able to bend that one with my fingers. I can't see me getting away with anything smaller than that. This one even is a bit touch and go. Don't be afraid to go for a nice big jump ring when you're doing key rings, because of course, you know, you may as well. They want to be sturdy. Now personally I think that one might be a little bit weak, because you can see how thick this jump ring is. There we go. That's some ways to attach your hearts to things, or any other sort of fairly chunky items that you want to attach to key rings or whatever. That is the easy way to do it. And there we go. So I hope you found this useful. As I said, do pop in the comments below if there's anything else you've been wondering how to do, because that's where I got this one from. People were asking. I do requests, as I always say. So yeah, pop it in the comments below and I will jump on it and have a go at doing things for you. If you wanted to know how I made any of these, then again drop it in the comments and I will jump on that and get that done for you too. Thank you very much to those who subscribe, by the way. As I record this between Christmas and New Year, I've just cleared 600 subscribers, and as the channel really has only been going properly for a few weeks, I'm absolutely delighted, so thank you so much for your support. Couple of other things to say. One of my videos I had actually nailed this Petri effect, so don't worry about asking, oh, how did you do that one, this lovely Petri swirl, because I've done some that were way better than this, and I will link the video up in the corner of the screen for you, so you can see how to do that one. Right, there we are then, aren't they lovely? And thanks for watching. I'll see you for the next video.